Hello everybody, my name is Bright Wolf, and today we are going to be doing a Zelda game tier list. I decided to do this because of the really good reception I got from doing the Smash Brothers tier list, Smash Brothers Ultimate character tier list. So we are going to be just ranking all of the Zelda games that I have played. So I got one that also has spin-offs just in. Yeah, I might be ranking the spin-offs, who knows. I might find a tier list just for the spin-offs. But we are going to start off with the first Zelda game, The Legend of Zelda. I played this one. I haven't gone through the whole thing, but I have seen people play it. It's pretty good. It was revolutionary. It started the whole series. But just in terms of gameplay itself, I think it would be here at C tier. It wasn't bad. It was revolutionary for the time, but compare it with some of the other Zelda games on this list, it's just not really that great. Next would be The Adventure of Link, the next Zelda game. I have not played this one, but just from seeing like people play it and like seeing all like the reception of it, and I think I wouldn't like it very much, honestly. So I would say The Adventure of Link would go about here. It's here. I mean, it tried to change the Zelda formula, which is what the later Zelda games were trying to do. But it didn't really do that properly. I guess it just failed to do that. Next one would be A Link to the Past. I have played this one. A lot of people say it's their favorite. I would personally put it right here because it's not bad. It's actually really great. It took what the original Legend of Zelda had, got rid of all the bad stuff from The Adventure of Link, and just kind of ran with it and actually gave us the first Zelda game with a really like significant story. Pretty much the story of the first Zelda game, The Legend of Zelda, was, hey, you start off, go in the cave, get the sword, go get the Triforce or whatever, kill Ganon and stuff. But it never really said that. Where in Link to the Past, where there was a legitimate story, a legitimate boss, and it was the Zelda game that started the entire Zelda formula of go find a dungeon. In that dungeon, you'll find an item which you can use to help on your journey, and then use that item to beat the boss and continue with the game. And that is what most Zelda games to this day have been using as what we call the Zelda formula. And I think it is not a bad game, but just like I said with the original Legend of Zelda, just compared to the other Zelda games, in my opinion, it just doesn't really compare. Next would be, I have not played the original Link's Awakening, but I have played the Nintendo Switch version. And I think there. I will only be doing the ones that I've played, so yeah. I mean, yeah, that's kind of a given. Link's Awakening. So far, I've played a decent amount of it. I love the art style of the Nintendo Switch version, by the way. It's a cool story, and it's definitely different from the, something happened and you gotta go stop Ganondorf and try and protect Zelda. It actually it was technically the sequel to A Link to the Past by the story being that Link washes up on a island, and then he has to find his way out and try and get back to his old life. But then he tries, then he has to go through all these obstacles to get there. He has to find all the instruments to wake up the windfish. And I won't spoil the end, but it's pretty groundbreaking. I mean, it's kind of a classic thing to do at the end of games. Let's see. Next, I believe, is Ocarina of Time. I've only played Ocarina of Time 3D, but I know it's very similar, except for the graphics. And, you know what, let's just rank all the ones. I mean, I don't know. Should I rank the original? I think I'll rank the original for Ocarina of Time. No, I think I'm good. I'll just use the original versions of them. I don't want to change it, so we're just gonna have the Link's Awakening. We're just gonna have the original artwork though, because Ocarina of Time. Ocarina of Time is great. Personally, I've played the 3DS version because I don't own a Nintendo 64. And rumors have it that there will be a remake of Ocarina of Time and some other 3D Zelda games for Zelda's 35th anniversary, which I'm super excited for. I can't wait for Nintendo to give us something for Zelda's 35th anniversary. But Ocarina of Time, it was the first 3D Zelda game that ever happened. It had, personally, I think it had a great story. It revolutionized 3D gaming, which, well, for the second time. I feel like Mario 64 was the first one to revolutionize 3D gaming, but I wasn't alive back in the day, but if I were, I would have been surprised by this. It's like, this is what games can be like? Like, Ocarina of Time was insane for the time, and I think it just still holds up today. Next would be Majora's Mask. I like Majora's Mask. Majora's Mask is great. I think I like Ocarina of Time more than Majora's Mask, though. So I'd say I'd have Ocarina of Time over Majora's Mask, but only by a little bit. The great things about Majora's Mask are the new mask quirk or ability. The new mask mechanic. You get to do different things with different masks. They allow you to have different abilities, which is awesome. And the story is fantastic in Majora's Mask. I said earlier that Ocarina of Time had great story, but Majora's Mask just gives you, like, a whole, like, it actually just makes you feel nervous, and because the moon is going to fall in 3 days. There's a 3-day cycle, which makes, like, things feel more desperate. Like, in every other Zelda game, it's like, oh, the world is gonna end soon, but you get to have an unlimited amount of time. This is different, to where you can't be screwing around for too long, or else the world will end. You have to keep remembering to turn back the time for certain quests and stuff. The dungeons are also pretty cool. I just wish there were more dungeons, and sorry, I'm bad with transitions. But Majora's Mask is all those great things. But I think the thing that I like more about Ocarina of Time is, I guess, because I don't know, I just prefer Ocarina of Time more than Majora's Mask. I thought I was gonna have to explain something there, but I really just didn't. I didn't have anything to say. Next, is there a game in between? Wait, do you have Master Quest on here? I thought that was canceled. I thought that was a thing, DLC pack for Ocarina. Well, it was a DLC pass for Ocarina of Time before DLC packs were a thing. It was supposed to be like extra content for Ocarina of Time since it did so well, but I thought it was canceled. I don't know, maybe they re-released it later on to show people what it was. But probably not. Let's see, what would the next one, I think, has to be the Wind Waker. So, I love the Wind Waker. The Wind Waker was like the first Zelda game to at least have the idea of having open world. It wasn't an open world like Breath of the Wild was, but it had that sense of like having more space, and it was much less linear than Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask. Just the sense of adventure and collecting and just like exploring just brought this game to new heights. The only thing I wished for in Wind Waker would be more dungeons, because the dungeons, there were only like 4 or 5, I think. Yeah, it's about 5. And Majora's Mask. Oh, wait, what am I talking about? I meant to say. So, Wind Waker is just great. I just wish it had more dungeons. There were originally supposed to be 2 more dungeons, but they were cut to make the game process go faster. So I think I'd put it not below Ocarina of Time, above Ocarina of Time. Which one's next? Minish Cap. I have not played this one. I want to play this one though. I think it would be at least A tier if it was though. Next would be Twilight Princess. Now, for any of you who know me personally, you know that Twilight Princess is my favorite game of all time. Now, for reasons why, is Twilight Princess's story is fantastic. For one, being able to change into a wolf, granting Link different gameplay differences, brings back that kind of Majora's Mask kind of feel with the different masks doing things, but instead you have new attacks, it's just like a totally different playstyle than normal Link. Also, I love Midna, the companion of Twilight Princess. Also, I feel like the game is so either cinematic or moody, which I both enjoy. When there's a cutscene that's like either moody, I feel like moody or cinematic. It just makes me happy. And I love when Zelda goes for a darker tone, and that's why I like Majora's Mask and Twilight Princess. But I feel like Twilight Princess can just be so creepy at times. Like Zant, he's like one of the creepiest Zelda bosses or villains of all time. If a Zelda game were to be like a movie, Twilight Princess would embody that, with the whole cinematic and stuff going with it. Now we're moving on to, oh geez, the DS games. I own both of these, and they're not great. I'll tell you that, they're not great. First I think came found Phantom Hourglass. I'd put Phantom Hourglass here because Phantom Hourglass wasn't a bad game, not at all. It was just one of the worst. It's just one of the, like, I guess, lower quality Zelda games. Whereas other ones had like so much polish and so much like, just the gameplay was satisfying. But I feel like the DS games in general just don't really give that out that much. I think here's my whole reasoning of why I don't like Phantom Hourglass. One, everybody knows the Temple of the Ocean King. That's garbage. But one thing that made me really not like this game was there's a part in the Temple of the Ocean King where you need this, like, you need to draw a Triforce in one line with the stylus. So I did that, but it wouldn't let me in. So I looked it up on YouTube, and apparently other people had this problem where it wouldn't let you, where it wouldn't open the door even if you drew the Triforce properly without having the stylus leave the screen. And the video gave out many ways to actually get it to work. But I just couldn't get it to work. So I've been stuck in the Temple of the Ocean King, just not being able to get past that door. And that's probably why, the most reason of why I don't like Phantom Hourglass. It's just that, like I said before, it doesn't have as much polish as other Zelda games, which makes it have more, like, I guess, glitches like that Triforce one. But I will give it credit for having a really good characters like Lineback and the fairy. I think her name is Celia or something. But those are good characters. I'll give it that. There's good characters. I think the next one, oh yeah, Spirit Tracks. I just put it above Phantom Hourglass, but not really that much. Phantom Hourglass, Spirit Tracks, I think is better than Phantom Hourglass because it's more different, even more different. It actually tried to spice up the Zelda formula a bit more by having Zelda's Phantom as your companion, and Zelda being able to take over like the Phantom Knights and being able to fight alongside Link, which I think was a good idea. But I think what holds Spirit Tracks up from being higher for me is just like another reason why I don't like Phantom Hourglass is the stylus controls. I think the reason why they did the stylus controls was because people were complaining about I'm just completely making this up, but it's just I guess a theory that maybe Nintendo heard the people complaining about Mario 64 DS. Mario 64 DS's using the D-pad was very hard in a 3D space, so they tried something different with the 3D game, and it just didn't really work. It's a little bit responsive, but I feel like it's just difficult to deal with. Next one would be, so we're looking through all the things. Wait, I didn't play Four Swords Adventures or Four Swords or the Oracle games. I didn't play a lot of the handhelds. I want to play Minish Cap though. I want to play Minish Cap. That's the one that I really want to play. I assume it's going to be Skyward Sword, but we'd have to look. Skyward Sword. I love Skyward Sword. Skyward Sword was the first Zelda game I ever played. Well, Link's Crossbow Training was the first Zelda-related game I ever played. But Skyward Sword was the first real Zelda game that I ever played. And I didn't really get to play it that much. I played it for a while. I was able to get past the intro. I was like 4 or 5, guys. You have to understand. I was 4 or 5. And I was just... Once I got down to the surface world, I was scared of the Deku Babas in the sealed grounds, so I just didn't play it again until I was 8. I went back to play it again when I was about 8, and I loved the game. I love it so much. It's great. Even though how much hate it gets, I love it. The motion controls didn't really bother me too much. The gameplay is great. I don't really mind Fi or Fi or however you pronounce the name. I love the story of Skyward Sword. Skyward Sword brings up so much light into like Zelda lore and Zelda. So like how the timeline works. Spoiler if you haven't played it. In the end, Demise, who's the villain, gives the reason why they're keeping Zeldas and Links keep coming up in the timeline, because he put a curse on them so they would keep reincarnating, and the hero, the princess, and the reincarnation of Demise would always fight. Always fight. So, yeah, it is a big story drop. It gives so much information. Honestly, I really enjoy the gameplay, dungeons, and the bosses are pretty good. I don't really like Imprisoned, but I do like all 3. I do really enjoy all 3 Gearham boss fights, though. I do like all 3 of them. So I think I'd put it here. I think it's a great game. Next one would be... Okay, I've never played that. We're just gonna keep going through all the ones I haven't played. I can do a Zelda spin-off tier list if you guys want. Really? Oh, Link Between Worlds. This might be a bit controversial, but I love this game. I love this game. It's probably my favorite 2D Zelda game, I think. I think it has a good story. It has a good, like, I guess, boss, or I like the character Yuga. I like the character Yuga. Great personality. I love the one thing that I don't really like about it that much is how it like rehashes a similar, if not very, very almost identical story to A Link to the Past. And that's like my only real problem with it, but it's really good. And I think, honestly, I think the only thing that's controversial on this tier list so far is having A Link to the Past at B tier. I think we're almost getting done with this. Triforce Heroes. I have not played this one, but I have seen a lot of gameplay of it. I've seen the whole game. I've watched YouTube videos on it. So I think I have enough experience to rate it. I think it would be about there. Triforce Heroes isn't bad, but like I don't think everyone is like I get like the point of having a multiplayer Zelda game, but I just don't think anyone really enjoys them that much. I don't think anyone I don't think anyone really is like, oh, I can't wait for the next multiplayer Zelda game, because I just don't think Zelda was made to be multiplayer. And that's just my take on that. But now we are moving on to Breath of the Wild. Now, Breath of the Wild is great. I love Breath of the Wild a lot. But I do have some things that I dislike about it. One of the things being that even though like the gameplay is great, the exploration is fantastic, once you tear away how great the game is, you really start, at least for me, I really start to feel like I kind of miss the old formula. I really wish they had better dungeons, more memorable music, and items and things like combine. For Breath of the Wild 2, I would like a combination of the open world collectathon of Breath of the Wild with the older Zelda games to make for the finalized gameplay that I would love to see. I would put it here. Now, I think that's it. Those are all of the mainline Zelda titles. So thank you guys so much for watching. Like the video, subscribe if you haven't, and I'll see you in the next video.